Merry Christmas, everybody. And guess what? We got Arsenal transfers to talk about. This is the Arsenal Transfer Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is the Arsenal Transfer Show. Joining you this Christmas morning. Thank you as always for tuning in. Very much appreciated, especially today of all days. I understand, of course, those of you that perhaps are catching up, maybe have even left this until Boxing Day to watch because it being Christmas Day. I'm not surprised that many of you would choose to do such a thing. But what I can say is that Arsenal does not stop when it comes to transfers. We don't stop when it comes to talking about things either. So, very happy indeed to be talking about my camera, though. This morning, I'm not 100% sure what it's doing. I couldn't tell you. I don't know where the back button is. I can't get this, for some reason, get this screen off. And it's saying I have to press the menu button to cancel. But because it's facing me, I don't know where the menu button is. So I can't do anything about it. Anyway, I hope it's going to be fine. Good morning to those of you joining us in the chat box. Good morning to those tuning in on catch up, of course, as well. Our Silky, Paul, Black Shine, Stevie. Gooner 76, Rich, Louis, other Rich as well. We've got Tom, we've got Zoom, we've got Mike, we've got A1, we've got Paul and Matt G, we've got Paul and MD and Matata. We've got Love the Arsenal, Hate the Opposition in the chat. Mike, MD, A1, Jimmy. We've got Paul, we've got Aaron, and plenty more of you guys and girls as well. Thank you as always for tuning in. Always appreciate your time as per. Make sure that you are indeed tuning in every single morning as we build our way up until the opening of the January transfer window that will be opening very soon indeed. But speaking of which, we've got 4 transfer stories to discuss today. We start with Mateo Retegui, the Atalanta forwards. According to Calcio Mercato back in November, Arsenal were indeed scouting the Italian forward. You may remember him, of course, from Arsenal actually playing against Retegui back in the Champions League. He was one of the strikers that faced up against Arsenal, one of the strikers that missed his penalty against Arsenal as well, because David Raya pulled off one of the saves of the tournament so far. But only 25 years of age. His contract with Atalanta expires all the way through until 2028, so it would require a transfer fee. 12 goals in 17 Serie A matches this season, 3 assists so far. A good return for the Italian. But Arsenal are said to have been scouting him and are suggested to be interested in him as a potential striker option amongst those others linked with the club. Now, other reports moving into defensive positions claim that Barcelona are keen on signing Tyrick Mithcell, the Crystal Palace centre-half as well, of course, whose contract expires, I believe, at the end of this season, meaning that in January, he can kind of agree a pre-contract agreement with a foreign club. Well, it is said in those reports that both Arsenal and Spurs are also keeping their tabs on Mithcell, keeping their eyes on the player. Now, of course, 25 years of age as well. He's had a very good season for Crystal Palace. Got 3 assists so far this campaign as Palace have kind of grew into the season. Poor start for them, but certainly have grown into it. They do and have played with a back 3, meaning that Mitchell's been playing kind of a left wing-back role. However, he's certainly able of playing in a back 4 as well. And with Arsenal's left-back situation in a bit of flux right now, we know that Zinchenko, we know that Tomiyasu, we know that Kivior could all move on from the club in the near future. So it makes sense that Arsenal are keeping tabs on some potential players to replace them in the future upcoming transfer windows. Marcus Rashford, meanwhile, the stories surrounding the Manchester United forward do not stop. Ruben Amorim, of course, in his press conference was speaking about the player and was asked, of course, several questions about Marcus Rashford and his scenario about the club. And he says... he's just basically said that the Marcus Rashford situation is not a big distraction. He says, no, I don't think so. Not for me, not the other players. Everybody in Carrington knows what I'm talking about and what I want from Marcus and everybody else. And so he's not a distraction for us. He continues by saying, I speak to Rashford every day, not about the interview he did, saying he's ready for a new challenge, but about the performances. He says, I just want to win. I don't care about Christmas. I'm really frustrated like the fans are, but I know what to do. But then we have to solve some problems step by step, finding the answers for everything, and we will fight. Well, they, of course, are going to be hard-pressed when it comes to trying to turn around their season as they sit in 13th place in the table. They're away at Wolves on Boxing Day tomorrow. In fact, Arsenal are only one of 2 games that are not taking place on Boxing Day. Manchester City are hosting Everton. Liverpool are hosting Leicester, so we're not expecting too much from that. And Chelsea are hosting Fulham in a West London derby. We'll go through more of those Premier League games ahead of them tomorrow in the morning episode on Boxing Day. And the headline story today is on Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz, a player that we know a lot of Arsenal fans are very, very keen on indeed. However, the likelihood that Florian Wirtz will be leaving the club has diminished, and that Arsenal may not indeed be one of the clubs that can get their hands on the German international, who has been an absolute sensation, not just, of course, for Bayer Leverkusen, but also for the German national side. Just 21 years of age, attacking midfielder who is just excellent. He's already got 12 goals and 8 assists this season, building on from the last season where he helped Bayer Leverkusen win an invincible Bundesliga campaign with 11 goals and 12 assists in 32 matches. He's on track to potentially break that. In fact, he got 18 goals and 20 assists across all competitions last year. He would be an excellent signing for Arsenal, of course, to play in multiple positions, attacking midfield, right wing, left wing, can play even as a centre forward, though his main position is indeed that attacking midfield role. Could he be the dream left 8 that Arsenal could partner with Martin Odegaard to really take the league by storm? Well, Leverkusen are said to want to be keeping him all the way through until 2026 for the World Cup before letting him leave. And so if any Arsenal fans were hoping that they might pull off a bit of a Christmas miracle next year, I think you're going to end up being disappointed on that front. But less of the negativity, because it is Christmas Day. So we should move to part 2, tackle some of your questions over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so before we can get the celebrations going. So let's do that right after this. Right, let's jump into the chat box chat. I am really tempted to, I'll tell you what I can do. While I look at the camera, I can change my camera so that I can flick to my laptop camera. So if we do that, wait, there we go. I'm probably a lot brighter now, but the quality won't be as good. And then I can look at this camera. You're going to see a lot of cables on the screen. I just don't really get why it's decided this morning to go all weird. It's really odd. If I click menu, that should take it back. And if I put this back over here, open this up. It's not a Christmas present. I've had this camera for ages. I just don't know why this morning of all mornings it decided to go very weird indeed. And then we swap this back over. There we go. Okay, there we're a much better focus now after that chaos. I put it in some kind of movie mode for some reason. Right, let's go through some of our highlighted comments, shall we? Matt G's been a member now for 59 months. How long is 59 months? That seems ridiculous. 59 divided by 12. It's nearly 5 years, incredibly so. Of course it is. It's nearly 5 years. One more month for Matt Gilbert is 5-year membership anniversary. That is quite incredible. Merry Christmas to you, Matt. Louis has been a member now for 26 months, more than 2 years with the channel. Let's hit the sub goal for Tom's Christmas present. Bill says, Happy Christmas to you, Tom, and your family, and everyone in the chat box as well, up the Arsenal. I mean, in terms of that sub goal, we said we got to the end of the year to try and do it. We are 14 away. So if you're subscribed, right, thank you so much. We sat here at the beginning of the year and we're like, I wonder if we can get the channel to the Emirates Stadium capacity. YouTube has the tendency to unsubscribe people from the channel. It happens. Don't know why. Can't explain it, but it does. If there are just 14 people, just 14 that watch this show, check you're subscribed. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're listening for the first time. Please do subscribe, because we are only 14 subscribers away. 13 now. Just doing a little refresh from hitting our Emirates Stadium capacity in terms of subscribers, 60,704. We're on 60,691. If you're listening on catch up, you're listening on audio platforms, maybe you've been a exclusive audio listener and you've never subscribed on YouTube. Today is the day to do that, so we can try and reach what would be an amazing target. So thank you for those that have already done so. And if you haven't yet, please help us in and be the last 13 of our 60,704 Emirates Stadium capacity goal of the year. Bill, thank you so much for your kind donation. Says happy Christmas, Tom, to you and your family and everyone in the chat box. Up the Arsenal. Thank you, Bill. Clive. Yes, that Clive has been a member with us now for 31 months. Incredible scenes. Closing in on 3 years as a member of the channel, Clive. Just, it's a marker of the length of our friendship. MRM says, Merry Christmas, mate. He's been a member now with us for 28 months. Also, absolutely fantastic. Right, let's jump, shall we, into the chat and tackle some of your comments and your questions, and probably some familiar faces, I'm sure, as well. Conrad says, Merry Christmas, Tom. How much does the Sterling loan hamper the club if they want to try and loan an attacking player in January? I mean, they can't loan another player. You can only have 2 players on loan at the same time. Arsenal have 2 players on loan right now, Sterling and Netta. So they can't sign any more players on loan until one of those was to move on. Paul says, Rashford, no thanks. He'll bring a circus with him. Not keen. Not keen at all on on Marcus Rashford. And I know that a lot of people in the chat box are not either. So yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever about that. Alex says, I have to say, Tom, I'm a little disappointed. I expected a Christmas hat, and also don't forget the Advent. The Advent calendar's done, mate. It's finished. The Advent calendar is over. So no more Advent, I'm afraid. And yeah, I usually do have a Christmas hat for Christmas Day, but it's I can't find it. We moved house, and I think it's in a box that's not been unwrapped, unfortunately. Chunho says, Tom, do you think there is an opportunity to get Danny Olmo at least on loan? Again, we can't loan a player because we have 2 players on loan already, so we can't loan another one. But Danny Olmo, of course, who can't be registered at the moment, it seems, by Barcelona. I'm sure they'll find a way of being able to do so. King says, how long is Wirtz's contract? I still think that in the summer he's open to leave. Arsenal could potentially do it. His current contract runs out in 2027. So he's still got 2 years remaining on his deal. And says, happy Christmas. What about the links about Kudus and also Danny Olmo? We can't address Danny Olmo, of course. Kudus, I'd love to see Arsenal go for Kudus. I really would. But I've heard nothing on that front. It's good to see Albert in the chat box this morning as well. I think I spotted Sophie in the chat box too. Happy Christmas to you both. Thank you so much, both of you, for tuning in. Angela says, impressed, Tom, that you're doing a show on Christmas Day, but when's the Santa hat? I know, I'm sorry that there's nothing Christmassy adorned this morning, but do forgive me. I mean, being here anyway on Christmas Day should be enough. At least I hope that it is. Demi says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Do you think Arteta will utilise Marquinhos when he comes back in January? No, it does seem that he's already in talks with a potential move away from the club. I think Cruzeiro, doing a quick check. Is it Cruzeiro, I think, that are potentially looking at signing Marquinhos on another loan until next January. Let me see if I can quadruple and triple check that for you. But I'm pretty sure I saw a link with him leaving the club. Yeah, Cruzeiro, apparently, according to Brazilian media, have agreed a deal to sign Marquinhos on loan until December of 2025. So yeah, no Marquinhos at the club either. Maximius says, Tom, is there a case to pursue Amad Diallo, who's eligible for a pre-contract agreement in 6 days? Not with us, he's not. And been shining a light on Man United's stumbling season. He's been very good, very exciting young player. But I mean, if you are Amad Diallo, of course, you've got to look at the situation at Arsenal. If you're coming into that club that's got Martinelli, that's got Trossard, that's got Saka, that's got these young players in these wide positions as well, is he going to see that? He also seems like he wants to stay at Manchester United, but it's very important to point out that he cannot sign a pre-contract agreement with Arsenal in 6 days. That is a misconception that a lot of people often fall for. Chris says, ho, ho, hope you have a dairy milk-filled Christmas, Tom. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you, Chris, and for being a member for 52 months on the channel as well. Alva Mod, thank you so much for the kind super chat. The Christmas gift for you. Thank you for all the hard work for us Gooners. You're very welcome indeed, and thank you for the kind donation, mate. It means a lot. And Al Madist says, need a striker. Shouldn't spend big on a winger. I think you're going to be disappointed when it comes to strikers this January. I just can't see a centre forward happening. I think it'll be the summer that centre forward target is looked at more so than a winger. Tom says, what are your thoughts on Mateo Retegui? Is he a realistic signing in January? Again, no, I don't think so, because I don't think a striker is what is realistic this January. I think a wide attacking player is what is the most likely candidate as well. Emily says, has Kudus really done more than our current players? We do have to check how these players are in their present season. Of course, West Ham are not having the best of campaigns. It's probably worth pointing out. But Kudus, I think, has shown to be a player that's got a lot of the characteristics and traits that we'd quite like to add to the team. Ability that can take players on, can beat a man really, really well. Of course, you've got that ability to join the Arsenal team and hope that things would improve for him. But I think he has transitioned to the Premier League very well. Indeed. And, last season was really, really strong. He's got only 3 goals and 1 assist in the Premier League so far this season in a very struggling West Ham United side so far. And it is that versatility too that people really do appreciate. The ability to play left, the ability to play on the right. He had 8 goals and 6 assists, 18 goals and 7 assists across all comps last season. Very good return for him, more than Leandro Trossard, of course. And his extra versatility, I think, makes him that much more attractive as a prospect. Matt G, thank you so much for the kind donation. Really appreciate you doing a show on Christmas Day, mate. Hope you and yours have a fantastic day. And you, mate. And sincerely to everybody watching the show, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas today, if you are indeed celebrating. Chris says, Tom, I know it's not going to happen in January, but what are your thoughts on Dibbling for the summer? The guy is raw, but he's got so much potential. And if Southampton do go down, you would think that maybe Dibbling would be a player that there'll be a lot of clubs looking into. It was one of our suggestions that Nick Callow on our transfer show we did the other day could potentially be looked into. But yeah, only 18 years of age, but has already got plenty of Premier League experience playing for the Saints, and potentially a player that could be really good. He's really good at confident at taking players on. He's in the 99th percentile for progressive carries. He's in the 99th percentile for successful take-ons. He's in the 80th percentile for shot-creating actions, 3.32 per game. 95th progressive passes received, 85th for touches in the attacking penalty area. There's a lot of potential there. So Dibbling is definitely someone that should be on people's radars, I think. Elliot says, Merry Christmas, Tom. All the best to you and the family. You too, mate. Alvamod says, do you think that we might see a boost in some players as a result of losing Saka to injury? Sometimes that can make other players step up. Martinelli may be a revival coming for him. I hope so. It's impossible to predict, but I'm sincerely hoping that is the case. I also need to tell you that there are some information about the Carabao Cup semi-final games with Newcastle. The first leg will take place at the Emirates Stadium on Tuesday, the 7th of January at 8 o'clock. The second leg has been confirmed to be taking place at St James's Park at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 5th. So if we go quickly into Arsenal's fixtures this season to see where that now falls, Arsenal play Brighton on the 4th of January at 5:30, and then just 3 days later, don't know why it's been put on the Tuesday, because Arsenal play on Saturday the weekend before and Sunday the weekend after. So a Wednesday game made so much more sense, but the fixture makers never make too much sense. But yes, on Tuesday, Arsenal will host Newcastle after they play. I'm curious when Newcastle are playing on that weekend. Newcastle fixtures. Newcastle are playing on Saturday at an early kickoff, and they play on the 12th of January. Is that a Sunday as well? Yeah, both teams are playing on the Sunday. It made so much more sense for that game to be on Wednesday. That's nuts. So silly. But then Arsenal play Manchester United on Sunday, January 12th at 3 o'clock. The away fixture is scheduled between... when is it? Have they not put it into the fixture list yet? It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, February 5th. Wednesday, February 5th. Okay, so Arsenal play on Sunday, February 2nd at home against Man City, and then 3 days later go away to Newcastle, and then play an early kickoff on Saturday. Of course they do. Against Leicester the weekend after. So, yeah, some really tricky fixtures being input into those months. It's as well very, 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 very frustrating. Fizzy says, what's the best solution for Saka? Get fit. Fizzy, just get fit as soon as feasibly possible, and hope that indeed this sees him come back stronger. Tom says, on top of our key wingers, should we sign an actual second goalkeeper in January so that we can send Neto back and maybe be able to sign a striker on loan? Akolo Muani hardly ever plays under Enrique at PSG, for example. I mean, if there is one of the two loans that you can cancel, I imagine the Neto one might be a simpler one to cancel. But it usually needs to be agreed by all three parties, which does make things much more complicated. So, yes, Arsenal cannot loan another player until they've decided to cancel one of the two loans that they currently have. Cass says, our Spuds playing Liverpool on Wednesday and the next day at home in the same competition. Spurs fixtures. Spurs' game against Liverpool is on Wednesday, the 8th of Jan. No, they're not. They're not playing Liverpool the next day, I don't think. No, February 6th, February 2nd, February 16th. So, no, there isn't a fixture build-up in Spurs' case. Morgie has been a member now for 42 months on the channel, which is brilliant. That's nearly 4 years with us. Matt G says you should send in, he says, Matt G, you should send in 1 penny to round up your Christmas gift. Bless Tom for letting so many people feel involved in his broadcasts. Thank you, Morgie. Vegas Gunner says, how much do you think it would be to get Cunha from Wolves if we were interested? Well, Wolves are in a really difficult situation in the league, relegation-wise. They're not going to want to let one of their key players leave. I think they would ask for, still a considerable amount of money for Mateus Cunha. I can't see that deal being, cheap by all extents. In fact, his contract at Wolves this season, or in his current contract, is in 20. He's like 2.5 years still left on his contract. He's 25 years of age. He's ranked at 50 million euros according to Transfer Marks. I think it would be an expensive deal still to get that done also. Hans says, big up to Tom's wife for not moaning at Tom for doing a show on Christmas. Hey, you don't know if she's moaned at me. Chris says, should we moan if lunch isn't up on the screen? I mean, we're both doing lunch today. We're both hosting for the first time this year. So that's going to be interesting, hosting Christmas lunch for the first time. Angry Pacifist says, so impressed that you showed up today. Much respect. Have a great Christmas. You too, mate. A says, just give me Mbeumo, the perfect player for now and the future behind Saka also. Mbeumo does stand out as a really good potential option, I think, for Arsenal. I've mentioned it before. But, again, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap to get done, and that makes it all that more difficult to try and get that done. I think Elliot became a brand new member of the channel. He did indeed. Elliot, thank you so much for your kind support. Welcome to the TGT family, or at least the continuation of your joining with us. TGR says, what's your ideal Christmas beverage, Tom? Keep in mind it's summer and 33 degrees. I'll keep it in a summery mood for you, TGR. It's got to be a Pimm's. Even on Christmas Day, it's got to be a Pimm's. Pimm's lemonade, the fruit. That's what I would love the most on Christmas Day. I love a Pimm's. So, yeah, it's got to be a Pimm's for me. John says Arsenal are home to Newcastle on Tuesday because Spurs are at home to Liverpool on Wednesday. I know that's why they've put it there, but they could have put Spurs on the Tuesday and us on the Wednesday. Alvamod says rumours about Gyökeres for 50 million. Yeah, I think that is silly season for sure. I can't see Sporting letting him go for that when they've got a release clause of 100 million euros. That would absolutely make no sense whatsoever. Tutor says, Tom, why Edu not joining Nottingham Forest owners group anymore? What do you mean? There's been no reports to say that Edu's not joining Nottingham Forest at all. He's currently seeing out his gardening leave, and the expectation is that he will join Nottingham Forest, not the club Nottingham Forest, but Angelos Marinakis' group later next year. I know that Nottingham Forest have appointed a new CEO, but that's not the role that Edu was going for. That's a different role. There is still an expectation that Edu will become the CEO of the kind of group, the group of clubs. The recent Nottingham Forest appointment of the CEO, Lina Suluku, is only joining the club. She's not joining the group of clubs. She's just the CEO for Nottingham Forest, as Edu would have a role across multiple clubs. So there is still an expectation that he is going to be going to that group. TGL says, a bit of bubbly here. Might go check the pool. Have a good one, Tom. Enjoy it, mate. Alex says, good luck with the hosting today, Tom. Do you have any Christmas traditions? It's more Christmas traditions. Obviously, we'll be watching Gavin and Stacey later on, and Wallace and Gromit. Absolutely, got to watch those two. Christmas Eve, usually watch a Christmas film. Last night we watched what's that new Netflix Christmas film, Carry On. I would recommend it. I thought it was very good, actually. I did enjoy it quite a lot. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes it got. I did enjoy that film quite a lot. So yeah, I'd recommend that. It's like a die-hard modern day action-y film just set at Christmas, basically. So if you're into that, I'd recommend it. Other Christmas cheese in the evening. Does that count? It's got to be cheese and crackers in the evening. With a bit of gammon as well, a bit of cold gammon on the side. Absolutely, I think that's got to be the way forwards. So yeah, that's got to be it. Leo says, Merry Christmas, Tom and everybody. But Tom, why are you here on Christmas Day, and why are we watching? Because we love Arsenal, mate. That's the only reason. We love Arsenal. We love this community as well. Sophie says, if Arsenal players were Christmas food, Odegaard would be the gravy, Big Gabby would be the stuffing, Lewis Skelly would be sprouts. I mean, that must be because you like Lewis. You must like Brussels sprouts, Sophie, or maybe because they're growing on us a bit. Lewis Skelly's growing on us. Who would be the turkey? I mean, it's got to be Saka. He's the main man. Surely, turkey is the main attraction. So it's got to be Saka, without a doubt. Alvamod says, cheese definitely counts. No Christmas without it whatsoever. Andrew says, oh, Sophie, you're being naughty there. I need to know, Sophie, what the thinking is behind some of these. And we are doing sprouts this year, but I've done them in a different. I've used the Jamie Oliver recipe this year. It's Brussels sprouts cooked 2 days before, so you let them kind of marinate in. You boil them up. You cook onion and sausage meat and apple and a lot of Worcestershire sauce. Brussels sprouts go in. Cook that up, and it's meant to taste very, very good indeed. So that's the Brussels sprouts plan today. I'm looking forward to seeing indeed how that goes down. But it's a bit of a risk, but we're going for it. We're going for it. Leo says, don't forget EastEnders on tonight as well. I'm not a fan. I'm not a soaps person. My granddad was. Not necessarily EastEnders. He was a Corrie person and Emmerdale. But for me, not and never have been a soaps guy. But each to their own. Temi, Merry Christmas to you. And all in the chat, Isak and Kavica Kvaratskhelia as Christmas gifts for the fans in January. I can see why you've put a crying, laughing face, because the likelihood of that happening, I'm afraid, is very unlikely indeed. Anyway, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Really appreciate all of you being here. To see, close to 800 of you across all of our platforms on social media and on YouTube as well listening. It means the absolute world. As I mentioned earlier on the show, we did have a target to try and reach 60,704 subscribers before the end of the year. We are 10 away now from that target. You've got 5-6 days, and maybe we'll indeed get there in these next 6 days. If you aren't subscribed, make sure that you are. Help us to get to that target. It's been an absolute joy to spend the year with you, and we've got more shows to come, of course, and we aren't slowing down. I'll be with you tomorrow morning on Boxing Day, looking ahead to that game in the Premier League against Ipswich, where hopefully we might have a couple of gems of news today. I'll be very surprised. Journalism kind of goes to sleep on Christmas Day a little bit, but who knows? Maybe we'll have something to talk about. If not, we'll do something more general. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, Merry Christmas and up the Arsenal.